Do I swipe to the side? Oh, here we are. Hey, all right, cool. There it is.
What's going on, man?
How we doing, guys? What's happening?
Hey, man.
Good, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. Had a good day. Did some house upkeep and went for a couple runs and had a good time. Just hanging out, man.
Nice.
How are you guys?
I'm doing well. I just worked a little bit and just kind of was anticipating the talking to you tonight, this evening on our show. We appreciate you very much, sir.
Appreciate you guys having me, man. Thank you for that.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah. So what's happening?
Nothing, but just kind of just got done, like I said, working with my kid and got some things that I was going to do. Was making dinner, got all that stuff done, and we're now here with you, and was just hoping to talk to you about the new record and a few other things, man.
Cool. Is that Trevor talking right now, or is that Joseph? Because no one's mouth is moving.
Nope, that's Matt talking.
Yeah, that was really sweet of me.
That was freaking me out. I was like,
yeah, it would freak me out too.
Okay, cool.
So, Jason, Ollie seems to be really, really well received, man. It seems like you guys are kicking some ass with that. How are you handling all the feedback with everything after, like, last year not being able to put it out, and just all the crap that's went on in the last year?
As far as like how we doing with the new album, as far as promotion goes and putting it out there?
Well, I mean, it seems like it's getting like a lot of positive feedback. I mean, that's got to make you pretty happy, huh?
It makes it makes us all feel really great, man. We had obviously the year to work on music, and it's nice because the last couple records we did were only a year apart, and so we kind of raced through the next record, I guess, to just kind of keep music going out. We had a lot to say still, but I mean, at that point we were almost kind of milk dry. And so obviously the last couple of years gave us content to think about and talk about and reflect upon more than anything, just reflect upon in personal life situations and friendships and family and just, the world as a whole, I guess,
Right. Yeah. Everything was really crazy. I mean, nobody really has to say that, but like the last year and a half, it's just been, it's been insane, unprecedented things went on in the world. And, it had to affect it. Like I had spoken with your drummer, Chris Dolly. He was the first person I ever had on here, ever.
Yeah.
And, he was like, just sitting in quarantine. He goes, it just, he didn't really, he said he didn't mind it because, he's a drummer. He could drum all the time. And it just seemed like, you guys not being able to get out and play and stuff like that, that would really have to suck, man.
It was hard, man. It was really hard because we had just, when it all kind of kicked down to it, it was our 25-year anniversary, and we just had done 2 shows back-to-back live here in Arizona and put a record out with it. And
that was a Rebel Lounge, right?
What's that?
Was that the Rebel Lounge record?
Rebel Lounge record, yeah, the 25-year anniversary, and we were super, super pumped to get out there and present the live album all around the world. We had plans to go to Korea, we had plans to go to Alaska, we had plans to go to Europe, we had plans to go to South America, and the U.S., obviously, and Canada too. And then all of a sudden, it just was like, nope, you ain't doing shit. Yeah. So 25 years later, we're like, well, let's call it the 26th-year anniversary next year, possibly.
I think people would show up, man.
Yeah. And then, so, I mean, that was a real letdown, unfortunately, obviously, and rightfully so. I mean, but it was a bummer for all musicians and just everything, obviously, that. But with us as musicians, touring was definitely null and void. It was like playing in this exact office right here, for the last laundry, by the way.
I've watched that a couple times. It's the same area for I've seen that a couple times.
So I've been playing it here for like a year and a half straight, acoustic, my own stuff. Just doing live shows to keep people entertained, if anything else, myself as well. And Authority, we just kept on writing a new album because we had a lot to talk about. We had a lot to, once again, sit back and think about. And just even as a band, it's like, how do you weather that storm? All the bands that aren't able to do what they do like every day, typically, and you're just in this general path and like, go all the time. Then all of a sudden you stop.
I couldn't imagine.
It shell shocks you. You're like, I don't have, a normal job. I barely have a job. It's music because I love it. But it happens to be like what I do. And all of a sudden you're like, what do I do? And so I started reading out and doing like a lot of artwork and stuff, and really delve into that quite a lot with still music, lyrics, and stuff of that nature, and just kind of like made the best of what I could with that, that year and a half of stagnant, kind of feeling. and everybody else in the band did too. We just kind of like, well, let's turn back to music, and like we have all this time to actually write a good record that we think that we really can break apart, and not just like that's how this song goes, that's how this song goes, that's all we have time for. It's like, let's tear these things apart and see what's up.
It seems to come out really good, man. I've really enjoyed it so far. Like what, for instance, like what has changed in your songwriting perspective from like Passage, okay, like from back then to like now? Like, you know, I mean, obviously you mature, you get older, those type of things, but do you still have like the same kind of outlook on things like when you go to write a song?
It's developed quite a little bit, I guess, you know, but like, you know, you just kind of reminded me back when we were writing A Passage of Time, that exact song, in this big warehouse down in Mesa area. And thinking about it, it's kind of the same process the way it is now, I guess. It's back then there'd be a guitar riff, like let's find the right drum line for it, I guess, or, you know, we used to write back like in the studio, just like consistently in that element, you know.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, like you find that, you know, vocal melody and or lyric idea, at least at the beginning, of how it could go, and then you take it home and you write to it, you know. And the way I write lyrically is like a lot of times I write off the drums. Melody wise, I'd write the guitar, obviously, and bass, but I like to pop words off the drum beat and like keep them like kind of bouncy and like really like,
yeah,
you know, that kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, Chris said that he had all your vocal lines beforehand when doing the new record, and he said it was really cool because then he was able to go and do what he wanted to do. Like, and I mean, this drumming on this is like dude, wow, you know what I mean? It's really, really good.
I agree, he killed it, man. And that's the thing too, is like with past writing and you know, a couple albums back, I've had, you know, guitar players in the band, you know, prior be like, well, what are you going to write to that? I'm like, well, I don't know until it's put together, actually, because like a lot of times I write after the music's there, then I write to the music. So that way it's like they work out the pieces they want to work out. You know, it all starts with acoustic guitar in the beginning, you know, with here's a melody, here's an idea. You know, Mike and I in this last one was like Mike and I doing a lot of the melodies back and forth down the street and putting a song together. And then we're like, oh, let's get this to Dally and see what he comes up with. And, you know, it's after, you know, Mike would also like program a couple drum ideas. You have to give like the idea of the tempo, and then Dal would take over and, you know, do the madness on it too. So, but I mean, all that said, it's like, it's a different process now, but it's almost the same in its own right. We don't get together in a room and start writing songs right away. It seems like that can be confusing, rather than just like, I got this actual song idea in mind. What do you think about this? Make it bigger, better, you know, or whatever, and then pass it on back and forth. And then we're like, oh, there's a song, cool. And then we'll like get together as a group in the end of it, and then make it sound like the madness it's supposed to be.
That's awesome, man.
Are you knitting?
Maybe.
Always.
Brenda's knitting. I thought you were like the whole time. I was like trying to focus on talking about the album, but I was like, saw you knitting. I'm like, I think she's knitting something.
Yeah. Yes,
That's
I
awesome.
am.
What are you making?
I'm making pieces for a baby blanket.
Ooh, all right.
Aw.
They look good.
Yeah, people pay me to make stuff.
That's rad.
Yeah.
My friend
I
Kim
get
knits as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually crochet. It's just one hook.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Hook
Yeah.
swing
Yeah.
kind of thing. I don't know what to do with this whole thing, but I mean, I think that.
I'm a
It's
dirty
about-
hook.
Love it.
Yeah. You know, I get paid to make art, so it's cool. I like it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So you know, now that I have a moment, I got your attention with my my yarn over here. So I was like a little punk rock kid in high school,
Okay.
and you know, probably not a whole lot of people would have anticipated that I would, you know, be like have the hobbies of an 80-year-old, you know. What were you like in school?
Was I like in school?
Yeah.
Man, that was a fucking mess. Like, I think in a fun way, I guess. Today it made me who I am, so that's good. But I mean, I was always a troublemaker. I was, you know, kind of the cat that, you know, I was like, in the early years, I was like the unpopular kid. I mean, all the way through school, actually. I was like the unpopular kid, like kind of the loner, super lanky, funny in some regards, I guess. Didn't really like doing it at all, going to school, because it was like always like, you know, it was in Wyoming, for the most part, because I lived in Arizona when I was born and moved to Wyoming. So it's like a bunch of cowboys out there. And I wasn't a cowboy. I wasn't anything at that point as far as like a said personality goes, I guess. I was just very a free wanderer. And then throughout the years, I got really big into skateboarding in my, pre-high school years. Middle school, yeah. Middle school, got skateboarding. Some kids from out of town started moving into town where I was at too. And we were all kind of like outcasts. We had no friends. None of us did. We were kind of like the weird kids walking down the hallways. And then all of a sudden we kind of got similar areas that we got involved in a school during lunchtime. And it's like a full on like typical teen movie. It's like you meet like the weird kids and you go, we're over here, dude. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It totally became that. And that's kind of like the beauty of it all, because we all were like lost and we found a friendship in a really different direction of life within that oddness of like where we all came from with all these different corners. Some were into skateboarding, some were just like lost souls in a sense too, myself included. And we're like, hey dude, come over here, come hang out with us, like we'll hang out. And then we all got into skateboarding, got into punk rock. Some of our friends were from out of town. They moved in prior punk rock bands as like 12-year-olds apparently at that point. And then we started our own punk rock bands. And then that's kind of like where the story takes us, is like from there, as far as school goes, it was more about skateboarding and smoking cigarettes with my friends and drinking beers in the backyard, sneaking out the house. Got through school, graduated, all that fun stuff too, went to college for a bit. But that was like the core development of my high school years. And school was like meeting that group of kids. We're still friends to this day. Like all of us are so close. And some became soccer hooligans, some became, parents of 16, but we're all still linked together in that same zone. And every time I go out there and play a tour out in like Salt Lake City, Utah, they all come out. We have like a reunion kind of thing.
Awesome.
Where did you live in Wyoming?
I lived in a few places. Evanston, Wyoming is where I was talking about, where I met a lot of my buddies in contact with. Yeah. So just right across the border from the SLC, like SLC Punk, if you've seen that movie, the store they go to, you used to there all the time, like right there at Porter's, where they do the 666 on the butt cheek thing.
Yeah.
I was like, that's my hometown. Only, So they used to come down here, and we used to go to Salt Lake City for shows. So that's when I started going to punk rock shows, was back then, and like we'd sneak out and go across the border like Footloose and shit. So kind of funny. But Evanston, Cameron, Wyoming, up next to 4 hours south of Jackson Hole as well in Star Valley. Yeah. So like Etna was like 100 people like town, and it was like we had a house. It was like a rental, like with 6 acres of land, had a motorbike, and I'd like hike out there in the middle of winter and like jump up this little tiny hill and like snowboard down it for like 10 seconds and crawl back up in 6 feet of snow to keep on going up and down.
Yeah. So my family's from Thermopolis.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. So, huh?
I said all Wyoming.
Yep. So that's like the only place I've really been to in Wyoming. So don't really know any of the other places too well, but I'm from the West Coast. So
yeah, you're doing fine, but I'm not going back there very often. I mean, love to my Wyoming people, but unless you're like midway to the top toward Montana, it's a lot of tumbleweeds and pronghorn and just like cowboys.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's pretty much the town I'm from in Washington State. So you just described it, tumbleweed. So
literally, like that's a tumbleweed.
It's tumbleweed. Yeah.
Tumbleweed.
Yeah, that's my hometown. You can literally see tumbleweed flying across the roads. It's exciting.
Full on like Western. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Good times.
Well, cool.
So Jason, out of all your albums, like which one's your favorite?
Oh, I can't tell you that, man. I really don't have one.
No.
They're all such like different parts of my life. Like they really are just like chapters, so it's like I gotta love each one of them, I guess. As far as like songwriting goes, as far as excitability and like forward motion, I honestly I would have to say probably Passage being the first, and now Ollie Ollie Free, just because we're in such a different place now, like 20 years later, that it's fun to reflect and like listen back to old songs, and then like remember all the beginning hardships of it, I guess, or the work put into it with everybody that was a part of it at that point in time. And then now to like see the new team to now, and still like being in a positive light, and like everyone excited about it, and extremely just like driven. 27 complete years later, it just makes my heart warm and it feels good. I mean, so it's like right now, I guess being 41 years old, it makes me probably make that one of my favorite albums, but in correlation with our first full-length album, A Passage in Time, just because of a full-length life story.
Awesome. Yeah.
I love the name of that album, by the way. The Ollie Jackson Free is a great name.
Thank you.
Yes.
It is, yeah.
It's a
Appreciate it,
great
man. Hopefully it made sense to a lot of people. A lot of people might not make sense to it. I mean, the idea behind that and the title track on top of that, where I'm coming from at least, was the idea of like we've all been trapped inside ourselves, our homes, our families have been like our politics, all of it. It's like been such a separation of everything, and like separation of just even interaction with people, and stuck in this fucking office like playing acoustic music, which I fucking love, but it's not clearly, it's like for anybody out there, I'm sure you can probably feel the same thing with that. And it's the idea of like just breaking out of that shell again and like feeling free to talk to family and friends and about the things you don't agree upon, which was another hard part of the year, was all of that with the politics involved as well. Not a big political guy, but I mean, it's like you saw so much separation between families and friends and loved ones and lovers, and what the hell is going on, dude? It's like, wow. On top of that, obviously pandemic, and it's like this eruption of just feeling like you need to stay away from everything, even yourself. You're afraid to say anything. You're afraid to even like say the wrong words, say the wrong thing. You know what I mean? It's like just, so that's the liberation, I guess, of like coming out and feeling good again, and loving and your friends and family, and like hopefully tying that broken part
Absolutely.
within yourself as well.
It's very apropos.
Yeah. So
I when I first heard that song, I thought that might be what you were trying to say, and it with the politics and just all that stuff, and then like with Fire Off Another, it pretty much sealed it. I was like, yeah, I think dude's kind of trying to make us, say what a lot of people are thinking right now, like get the, you couldn't say anything about anything to anyone, this past year without it upsetting someone, and it.
Like offense, or like you're saying something wrong or offensive in some regard in any state of that entire year. It was like, it just was insane. It's been still, but I mean, it's like, for sure, like around that time when it was really the heavy point, it seemed more so. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely, I know personally, like just like with family and stuff, immediate family member still is like stuck. It's like stuck there, and it's like, dude, I'm trying to move on, man. Like I'm not gonna fight about this shit still. So let's either chalk it or I don't know what's gonna happen, but I've never seen anything like it, man. So that was definitely an hell of an observation, because it was just a bunch of trash, in my opinion, and
I mean,
the thing it could have been avoided,
Yeah, the idea behind that too is like a lot of it's like the music's always been like for a open-minded, take it as you will kind of writing process. I know what I'm singing about. I know what I'm thinking about and talking about, my own life, personal experiences, and the world's so big and everyone's so individual that it's like hopefully people take from that something that's useful to them or helpful to them or makes them angry or makes them happy, makes them say something they wouldn't possibly, makes them open up a bit. That's really the idea behind the music, the writing of it. It's like I don't want to say it's non one directional and not like walking the line so awful much as far as like all that goes, but just really to like help people take what they will from it, I guess, and hopefully can help somebody out in some regard, So it's been difficult for everybody in every aspect. And you know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Joe, you got any questions?
I do actually. Jason, I messaged you one time on Facebook before and told you what your song "Sky's the Limit" means to me, as like not just like a fan, but like going about in my day-to-day life. And how like I'd listened to it in the past because I love Passage. It's one of my favorite albums, but I didn't really listen to that song until one day I checked out the lyrics to that song. And then I realized, holy shit, this is a call to arms, personal accountability kind of thing. Like Get off your ass and make your own dreams come true. Nobody's going to do it for you. You got to do it yourself. And holy shit, sir, you lit a fire under my ass. And I can't thank you enough for that.
Oh man, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. That was me. Pretty much every song I write is lighting a fire under my own ass as well. So that makes sense. That's cool.
I thank you so much.
Appreciate that, Joseph. Thank you, brother.
The thanks go all to you, man. Thank you so much. I'm gonna start crying if I go on any longer.
What you doing? Don't you do it?
Hey,
Oh,
Jason, I'm a little late coming to the game with the Authority Zero. You know, I'm up here in Canada, and
Where are you at?
up here in Canada, Ontario,
Oh, where about?
Canada.
Ontario?
Yeah, Southern Ontario.
Nice. All right. Cool.
Anyways, I got on to you, you know, over the past year. I've been able to really explore more music because I've been stuck at home, not doing a whole lot either. And, you know, I love you guys. I love the whole variety of the sound, everything. I gotta ask, what's with the flamingos? Like I just haven't broken down and asked anybody else, and I'm like,
It goes.
yeah.
So, okay, so our last one of our albums, you know, Andiamo,
Yeah.
2006 came out with that one. That was a Norman Rockwell kind of playoff with the art of it, kids running with the flag and all that, from the go swimming piece of art. And we've always just loved art in general. But that'd be kind of fun to bring back the idea of the same three kids that were running flag, go swimming with Norman Rockwell, to like incorporate that. It depends on the time, like when you're trying to figure out like new album cover artwork and yada yada, and then you think of the title, you're like, oh, let's try and not reinvent that, but like reincorporate that into the storyline of our artwork, I guess,
Yeah.
Because people enjoy that one. That was a cool piece. And then with this one, the original one, I just kind of put something together. We were out there recording the album, and I have this app called PixArt.
Yeah.
And I went and looked up a Norman Rockwell painting, and it was the same three dudes, like, but they're like walking toward the screen rather than like running this way or whatever. They're on their way to the fishing hole. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. They look like really angstful and kind of like pissed or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if we put like a, the white flag in one of the guy's hands, and then the kid in the forefront of it has his fingers crossed behind his back. So on the back side of the cover, you'd see his fingers crossed, like, we made peace. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe we don't.
Yeah.
It's like we're pissed off youth. And so I kind of went to that, and then we handed it off to our friend Jake Stevens, who's done all of our artwork for the last 3 or 4 albums, like Broadcasting and a couple others, rhythm and blues stuff.
Mhm.
And he's our hometown guy. We gave it to him, and then we were on our deadline. We're like, we need to get some artwork like right now. It's like, that's not going to work because of copyright infringement possibility because of the actual Norman Rockwell stuff. And we got to figure something else out real fast because we're breaking our deadline for the release. And so the day before was like our deadline. All of a sudden he sends us that, and we're like, what the fuck is that? That's so good. It's only 2 days ago. You had nothing. And I was coming out with like kids with like trash cans and like fire and all of a sudden flamingos in the front, like just hanging. And like that was the coolest thing to us. And the rest, like the fire, like all this stuff. Yeah. So it's like there's all this chaos going on, like paratroop, all this stuff. We fighting. There's the 3 kids again. We incorporated, and we were trying to avoid masks. We knew everyone would be doing the mask thing this year, obviously, with their artwork, and we're trying to steer from that a little bit. And then all of a sudden, he put these guys in the forefront, just like hanging out.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
We were like, why? To him, we're like, why? He's all, because it was like a little bit of kind of peace, like oddness in the midst of chaos in the entire world. It's like the flamingos too have like 1 foot up, but always 1 foot planted. So it's like we're always got 1 foot on the ground. You know what I mean, so it's that kind of collaboration and coordination that happened. It just worked out the way it was supposed to. I think. I don't know, man. But it's
awesome.
fun.
I've seen a lot of people like adapt the flamingo to you guys. So it's like, is there something like deeper that I've missed? Like I haven't quite caught yet. But that's awesome. I love Ollie's artwork. That's wicked.
Yeah, great job, man. So I mean, we're really stoked on the way it came out with him, and we were just really surprised. So the pink became a big thing, and now we're seeing like pink is a big thing with all the bands. Like maybe it's like you didn't notice it until you did it. It's like you want a Jeep, and then you don't see a lot of Jeeps until you want to get a Jeep. And all of a sudden, all you see is Jeeps on the road.
Oh God, yeah.
It's like a 50-year-old commercial.
For real. Like all of a sudden everything's pink. You're seeing flamingos like in every like Target, you name it, wherever you go. See all your pink hanging on my on my laundry.
Nice.
That's
See,
crazy.
It's like the Tootsie Roll commercial. Everything you think Tootsie Rolls.
See, now I'm gonna see Tootsie Rolls all day, and I just want Tootsie Rolls now.
You're welcome.
A lot of people know about Authority. You have some great solo work too, man.
Thank you.
It's even brought. I mean, a lot of it's so good. I mean, it's even brought songs to Authority Zero. I just got a couple of like when we rule the world. Who exactly are you talking to there? I mean, you don't have to say, obviously.
Well, I mean, initially, like I say, a lot of songs I'm writing to myself in some weird way. I guess it's like you have like hardships, and hard times or whatever in your own personal lives, and that's kind of where a lot of the inspiration comes from. That's through like normal life, and it's like me trying to say like work it out, figure it out, or don't, and hopefully someone else gets something from that positive way. And then with the ultimate thing with Women of the World is it's kind of like we all think we're a bunch of fucking superheroes, but we're really not. So fragile, and like it's like people many times it seems take it upon themselves to like demean people, just to make themselves feel better and all that. And then also, once again, not being specific, but in politics, it's like yeah, we can just go and blow shit up, and there's not gonna be no problem with that, and there's not gonna be any backlash in any regard. And it's like been happening for ages and years, and it's pretty much like we don't think superpowers and like super human beings, but we're just fucking human beings. So it's like when we rule the world, it's like we keep on trying to fucking destroy it, it seems like, instead of making it a better place sometimes. I mean, not everybody, obviously, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying is like the powers that be, sometimes it seems like we're just they're getting away with a lot of things that are hurting a lot of people, and it's just like a trickle-down effect, and like a domino effect in some regard.
It's a hell of a domino effect. And then this was probably going to sound stupid. Hold Me Down, right? It seems very simple, but there's like kind of two ways you can take that. I thought, like, is it about a chick or is it about somebody oppressing you, sir?
It's just neither one, man. It's just in general. It's like no matter what you do or throw at me, it's like I'm going to keep on fighting no matter what, depending upon any situation.
That's what I meant by oppressing, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's like relationships. But once again, it's like it's always tough talking about songs as far as like what they mean, because I already feel like I put the meaning in the words, even though it is abstract. And so to try and break it down, it always means multiple things in all reality with every song. It's just like, again, the way people could take it. I've got my own vision on where it came from initially, and then it develops from there too.
That's wonderful. We got to talk with somebody else, and the guy just basically looked at me, and I'd asked him a couple questions like that. He's like, "Do you know what the word macro means?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." You know what I mean? Like, something it just applies broadly, and I'm like, I get it. It seems like songs, no matter what, people are going to take them the way they want to, and that's, I guess, the beauty of music, And cool. I just, sometimes I like to know specific shit. I don't know. But Passage, like with your first three records, like you guys, like they were wonderful. All your records are great, man. To be honest, I make no bones about them. I'm a fan, But the first three records were really, really good. And then it was like you guys had some time off and things. How did you weather all that and remain focused? And then you come back with like Stories of Survival, and it's just as good as the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. We went through a really rough patch, like in that time frame, let's be talking about, I think, is like after that first few records, and all of a sudden we got dropped by our label. We had bad management happen, bad management moments. We got ripped off by them. It put us back financially a lot, to where we had to do touring for 3 years, basically without getting paid, just to pay off our debts, to get out of the funk it was in. Because it was, at that point in time, it was involved that we were just a bunch of punk rock kids. But due to our actions, trying to make things better with the group and trying to sort things out, things didn't go the way we planned, and it was a really hard time. It was a really hard time. People were getting older in the band. People had kids. People had mortgages, and we had a tour to make money to pay off certain things from the past. You know, whether it be loans or you name it. You know, anything to keep on the road. You know, at that point in time, management was helping take care of and forwarding for us, or you know, helping us out with. So from there, people started having to leave the band, this and that. Things got tough. You know, it's like you're in the band for that long. On top of that, in touring, things get strange, you know, when you're not making enough to get by. But you want to keep on doing it because you love it, you know. And so from there, we, you know, had a kind of a dry patch. We had new members come into the band, which was different and interesting, but also kept the band going, you know. And during that time frame, I also had an offer from the guys in Pennywise, because Jim had left the band, the singer, and Fletcher called me up and had me fly out to do some tryouts for Pennywise. And our band was kind of in a crippled state at that point in time, but I was like so hell bent on keeping it together, not to allow, I don't want to say the system to like make us break up because of the fact that things just went shitty on that end. And I was like, I'll be damned if I let this ruin everything that we worked so hard for as kids and like to this point in time, you know? And so I did the tryout stuff. And then I think that Fletcher could tell also that I wasn't 100% into it, which is weird as me, as a kid growing up listening to Pennywise and respecting them and, you know, being influenced by music. Tell that I wasn't like, you know, right now. I was like really trying to keep our band together. And so came back and we got some things going. The guys were like, hey, yeah, we heard about the things. Like, you should do that. We'll take some time off. You know, because everyone's kind of out of that point in time. I didn't think that was a possibility or actually even an option. So kept on pushing for it. And then we got things rolling again. And Stories of Survival is the album that came from that. It was like a matter of like keeping us together. And it felt like a shining light once again, because we got our bass player back, Jeremy, our original bass player. So it felt like the band was kind of pulling itself together again. You know, as broken as it was at that point in time. And so from there, things got weird again. You know, things happen like that all the time in bands. So, you know, it's too good to be true for, you know, some amount of time. So from there, we kept on working through it, just kept on pushing through it, muscling through it, and new friends that are close friends came into play, as well as players in the band like Mike Sparrow, you know, our bass player still today, and Chris Daly, obviously, and things just started kind of getting a better feeling again, and things started really, a light was shining again, rather than just like this dark place in this giant hole you're trying to dig yourself out of. And so it's been progressively that direction since whenever Stories was even written, you know. I can't remember the date, but from that point forward, it was like just fight, push, go, twice as hard if possible. And we have a great team, and it just kept on getting stronger and stronger, and it still has to this point in time. So,
Jason, I want to say, shit, I'd have been 20 years old, and I was in a Kmart store up here in Ohio. I'm in Akron, Ohio, and went back to the electronics department or whatever, and I seen this dude in a Rancid t-shirt, you know, and that around here was pretty rare, and it still honestly kind of is, you know. And so I went up to the dude, and we're talking and shit, and I asked him what he had, because he had a CD in his hand, and it was Passage. So it's like, you know, that was 20 years ago, man, you know. And wow. So I was like, well, you know, I mean, he said it was rad, and I was like, all right, cool. So, you know, the dude walked off. I still to this day wish I'd have, you know, got his name or some shit, you know. But we were just bullshitting, and I went ahead and bought it, took it home to my house, and put it on, and that first song came on, you know, the title track. And there's like, you know, it was like a punk house, you know, just people just drinking, partying, and, you know, it was like a bunch of kids, basically, you know, 21-year-old kids. Sure. And that song ended, dude, and you could have heard a pin drop in my house, man. This is a house that's never quiet, you know. You could hear a pin drop. And I mean, it's been a long time, you know, and like I kept watching and shit, you know, and you know, you guys came back with Tipping Point, which was an amazing album. Then, you know, like you said, you guys keep pushing. Now it almost seems like it is like back in the beginning. Like you guys all seem like real close and like happy now, and like putting out like, you know, real decent stuff, man. You know, it's good to see.
Yeah, tipping point as well as like the business term, the tipping point. It was like that was kind of where it was at. It was like that was like I was like, all right, dude, this doesn't feel good or feel, you know, it's like one way or the other at this point. It's like you put 20, you know, your lifetime into this, and it's like all right, sometimes you gotta know when to say when, I guess, or if things are not really flourishing, it's like maybe try a different approach to something else in life. And so that's why it was titled The Tipping Point, because, you know, the Norman Rockwell, not Norman Rockwell, I'm sorry, the author of The Tipping Point. But I just got done reading that book not too long back, and it was like, this makes complete sense, like where we're at with this band right now, you know. And it's like, as far as like the business side of things go, and the entirety of it, this the whole like Zero Crew, you know, everything, the whole business part of it, and the band in general. And it was like, man, if this doesn't work, it's like I don't want to make anybody else drag their feet. I don't want to make anybody else feel like they need to do something they don't want to do if they have other things in life. It's like, they fucking love it, but it's like, you know, not to hold anybody back. It's like, let's see what happens with this. And we really enjoyed that. I really was leaning toward the positive light, and so we've been just rolling and pushing and going, man.
It was a rad album, dude. All of them are, man. They really are. I'm just, you know, I'm thankful you came out. I'm really happy to see you guys having like success with this album. That album's really good too, by the way, man.
Thank you.
For what it's worth, that's a great song. That's my favorite on there, you know. But the Good Fight's real good. I mean, you know, fire off another. That was something different. I kind of thought that was something different for y'all, you know, a little bit.
Yeah.
It works though, dude. It sounds badass, man.
Thank you for that.
I'm just glad to see you guys, man, being successful and kicking ass still, man. That makes me happy as hell. You know what I mean? So I appreciate it, man.
You too, man. Thank you guys all, man. I'm looking forward to getting out there and playing some of this stuff live more. So we did our CD release party not too long ago here in Scottsdale, Tempe area, you know, and it was just awesome. And
I've seen pictures from it.
Yeah.
It looked.
Oh,
like
yeah. Blake, you know, you're Blake Seven. He I know him from the little Blake, you know, from the Zero Crew, Facebook group.
Yeah.
He sent us a video like the first 2 minutes of it, dude, and we were like freaking out, you know, because he's just cool like that. He just does random stuff that you'll just be like, yeah, man, that's cool as hell, you know. We were just sitting around, and damn, I got that on my phone. It was like, what the hell is this? It was like 2 minutes of it, and there's Blake like smiling, you know. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. He's a cool dude, man. He's cool as hell.
He is, man. He comes out to a lot of my acoustic shows, my solo stuff around town a lot of times too, and like he's almost like at everyone he can get to. Honestly, he's busy too with school and all that stuff on top of it. So it's really cool, man.
We met him. I'm sorry. We met him in the Zero Crew. I met him in the Zero Crew room, and I got talking to him, and you know, he's just a real nice guy. So we invited him to the group that I found a while back, and he's in there, he's over there. You know, I talk to him all the time now, man. He told me, he texted me last night. He's like, you a little nervous? And I'm like, yeah, a little bit. He's like, dude, don't be. He's like, man, he's a regular guy, you know. And I was like, well, thanks, man. You know, it was cool though. You know, he's a cool dude. He's just really nice, chill dude, man.
Absolutely. What up, Blake?
I just want to thank Jason for his time, for coming on and sharing with us.
You too. Bye, man.